Hey guys, today we're going to use inequalities to solve word problems. And we've done word problems before with equations, and so solving them with inequalities is not that much different, right? We're still going to read our question and highlight our keywords. Okay, keywords are going to be especially important for the inequality unit because at most, at least, minimum, maximum, all those kind of words are going to really help us set up our inequality. Next, we want to identify the variable. So what does x represent? What are we actually trying to solve? Okay, and then we want to write an inequality that fits the word problem. Okay, again, we're going to use those words that we highlighted to help us, hopefully. And then we solve our inequality, and we can kind of check our answers, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so let's read our first question together. So Keith has $500 in his savings account at the beginning of summer. So I'm going to highlight this $500. Okay, he wants to have at least $200 in the account by the end of summer. So at least is a big word, right? We want to make sure that we keep in mind that word. Okay, he withdraws $25 each week for expenses. $25 each week. How many weeks can Keith withdraw money from his account? Okay, so first our variable here, x, is going to be weeks, right? We want to know how many weeks can he keep going like this. So we want to write our inequality using our keywords. So if he wants to have at least $200, right, that means he can have $200 or ideally, right, he would like to have more. So 200 would be our minimum. So really we want our money in our savings account to be greater than or equal to 200. And so our inequality is going to look like this. I'm going to have 500 minus 25x as greater than or equal to 200. Because this is his savings account side, right? He starts with 500, then he withdraws or takes out $25 per week, or each week, so it's 25x. But we still want that to be greater than or equal to 200. We don't want to dip below $200 in our savings account. Once we have our inequality written, though, it's just a two-step inequality. So all we have to do is subtract 500 from both sides. These 500s cancel out, right, positive and negative, so we would get negative 25x is greater than or equal to negative 300. And then from there we want to divide by negative 25 to get rid of our coefficient. And when we do that, remember, dividing by a negative flips our sign around. So we'd have x is less than or equal to positive 12, because negative divided by negative goes to positive. So then I didn't write my units here, but let's talk about what this means. We're saying x is less than or equal to 12. Okay, we said x stood for how many weeks can Keith withdraw money from his account. So he's going to be able to withdraw money for 12 weeks or less. So he can withdraw for 11 weeks, 10 weeks, 9 weeks, 8 weeks, as long as it's 12 or less weeks. So then we can kind of check our answer. So we're going to plug 12 back in for x. So we would have 500 minus 25 times 12. Well, 25 times 12 means that he's subtracting $25 every week for 12 weeks. Okay, and so we would have 500 minus 25 times 12 is 300. Okay, and then 500 minus 300 is just 200. And that's exactly how much he wanted at minimum, or at least, in his account. So we couldn't put a 13 in here. He couldn't go up another week, because then we would have less than $200 in our account. Okay, let's look at number 2. And again, we're going to highlight our keywords. So first we have yellow cab taxi charges $1.75 flat fee, or flat rate, same thing, in addition to 65 cents per mile. Okay, so both of those are important in just knowing how the taxi is going to charge us. Kate has no more than $10. That's really important. No more than $10. Okay, that means she can't spend more than $10, right? If you have no more than $10, you can't end up owing someone $11 because you won't have enough money, right? So we want to make sure that however far she goes, she's not exceeding her limit or going to spend more than $10. So our question is, how many miles can Kate travel without exceeding her limit? Okay, so we need to make sure that her miles stay below her spending $10. Okay, so here's what our inequality would look like. $1.75 plus 65 cents per mile. Remember, a flat rate means you're just paying it once, not per mile or per minute or anything like that, so it's just 1.75 plus 0.65 m, because it's per mile, is less than or equal to 10. because this can't be more than 10 because she doesn't have more than $10. Okay, so then the first thing we do to solve it is subtract $1.75 or 1.75 from each side of our inequality, and we have 0.65m is less than or equal to 8.25, and then we just divide by 0.65, and we wouldn't have to flip our sign here because there's no negatives being divided. So we would have m is less than or equal to 12.69 or 12 miles, right? It's asking how many miles could she travel for $10 or less, and so we would say 12 miles because we wouldn't want to round up because then she might be spending too much money. So let's check our answer. If we did $1.75 plus 0.65 times 12, right, we would get $9.55, which is 45 cents less than what she had in her pocket, right? She only had $10. Okay, let's see what happens if we tried to go 13 miles, because that's another way we can double check our answer. So if we plugged in 13, we'd have 1.75 plus 0.65 times 13. Well, if we did that, she'd end up spending $10.20, and that's too much. We only had $10, we don't have that extra 20 cents. So our answer checks out. We can go 12 miles, not 13, so 12 miles is our final answer. Okay, we have one more for us to try together. It says Nomar has earned scores of 73, 85, 91, and 82 on the first 4 of 5 math tests for the quarter. Okay, so all those scores are going to be important. He would like to finish the grading period with a test average of at least 82. That's also going to be important. What is the minimum score Nomar needs to earn on the 5th test in order to achieve his goal? Okay, so minimum score is the last thing that we want to know. Okay, so let's talk about how to find the average for our tests or quizzes. What you do is you take however many tests or quizzes you have, add up all your scores, and divide by how many tests or quizzes you had. Okay, so here he's done 4, but not the last one. So when we start adding them up, we would just add 73 plus 85 plus 91 plus 82 plus x. The x stands for the last test that we don't know the score for. We would divide by 5 because we know there's going to be 5 tests total, and we want that to be greater than or equal to 82. If he wants an average of at least 82, right, 82 is great, but he also could get an 83, an 84, 85, as long as it's better than an 82. So that's why all of our scores over here, the average is going to have to be greater than or equal to 82. Okay, so I'm going to combine like terms on top of my fraction. So 73 plus 85 plus 91 plus 82 is 331. And then we still have our plus x over 5 is greater than or equal to 82. So then my next step here is multiplying by 5 on both sides, okay, to get rid of our fraction. So when I multiplied by 5, 82 times 5 is 410, and this side our 5's just cancel out. And I didn't show that step, but I think you guys can listen and get it pretty well. Our last step here is we're going to subtract 331 from both sides to get rid of this 331, and we have x is greater than or equal to 79. So he needs to get a 79% on his last test in order to get an average of 82 or better. So we're going to plug in all of our scores, so it's the same scores we had before, but instead of plus x, I'm going to plug in 79, and then it's still divisible by 5, because there's 5 test scores. So when we add these up, we get 410, which divided by 5 is an 82%. And that's the minimum that he wanted to get, right? He wanted at least an 82 average. So if he gets a 79, he would get that 82. If he got an 80, he would get 82 point something. It would go up and up, right? So he wants to get at least a 79 or greater. It could be equal to it, but it could also be greater. Okay. On the rest of this page, there's some for you to try on your own. Okay, you're going to set up your inequalities and solve, and please get them checked with me, and then I'll tell you what to do next.